Hi, this is Lisa Sinclair, and this is an introduction for individuals who will be participating in the Skyline Simulation certification on Friday, December the 8th. So you are going to be participants in Skyline Technology, and this introduction is to, one, prepare you for what to expect on Friday during the simulation. Normally we would conduct this type of overview in the classroom right before we would start the program. And so this is giving you a little sneak preview of what we do if we had more than just a day to do the workshop. So let me just introduce you and walk you through the slides that you should see on your screen. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email. So as I mentioned, you're going to be participating in the Skyline Technology Simulation. And a few things about Skyline, just to set some context. So Skyline, and I'll call it SLT often, manufactures printers, all different kinds of printers and peripheral devices associated with printing. You will be participating in a one-day strategic planning meeting. This meeting is occurring off-site, and those in attendance will be will be senior directors only, and it's the first time that the organization has ever had a senior director only meeting. Both the president and the vice presidents had a discussion and realized that sometimes their presence can create conditions by which people don't share as much as they would want. They might be hesitant to bring up ideas or challenge ideas. And so they decided to excuse themselves from this meeting so that you, as senior directors, could work for really innovative and exciting direction setting for the organization. So they're giving you sort of a carte blanche to the organization and giving you an opportunity to work together to say, what do you believe would be, given the landscape of the organization, the best strategic direction for SLT? What should Skyline Technology be setting as their strategy moving forward as an organization? So it's important to note that this meeting is occurring off-site, so you don't have access to other people in the organization. You don't have secretaries to do different things. And this is a one-time only meeting, so don't put off today things that you need to get done. There will be no tomorrow for you and for Skyline. The fiscal year is, today's date is December 16th, or at least the date of your meeting will be December 16th. And the company's fiscal year is from October 1st through September 30. Now, why is that important? Because given that the last fiscal year ended in September, you have about a whole quarter's worth of data from the new fiscal year on which to use in your decision-making process. So some context there. You are also all peers. There's no hierarchy in this room. My role as facilitator will be to observe, to make notes. I'm really not going to be participating or answering questions. There's no sort of right or wrong answer necessarily. But my job is to observe and to tell you when to start and when to finish and those kinds of things. So I'll be doing more observing and listening than anything else. The goal of this simulation is for you to articulate the future strategy of Skyline. We're only looking for a rough outline of what that may look like. But you're going to prepare a presentation to the executive team at the end of the working meeting. So at the end of this session, you will be asked to just have a few flip charts that walk the executive team through your thinking around what do you know about the current landscape, what are the opportunities for the future, and what types of organizational goals, some strategic objectives might you set. You're only going to have about 10 minutes to do that. You are one intact team. We don't have multiple teams in this simulation. So you have 10 minutes only to do that. If you go over, it is likely that the executive team will stop you. They have very limited opportunity and time to spend with you at the end of this session. So you'll see on the screen, this is the president's direction, and When you get your packet of materials, which you should receive by Thursday, there should be another letter of instruction included in there. But as you see on the screen, really the idea of this directors only meeting is to give you opportunity to really think long range and creatively about the organization. They want you to think about yourselves as being in charge. You'll have a set of materials that your administrative support have helped pull together in preparation for this meeting, emails they know you've received, and memos that they believe are important for you to think through and process in the session. And so you'll have to go through that and pick and choose what's important for you to focus on. But most importantly is that the executive team has stepped out of the way, and they really want you to take great ownership and drive and define what the future of the company should look like. Some things that Skyline is not. So this is not a role play. It's a full-scale interactive simulation. We don't want you to come in and pretend to be what you think the financing director might be, but we want you to bring yourself to that role. It's real and that it's absolutely realistic, and it's customized to make your the organization issues real. So we spent time in developing this simulation with people in the printing industry. So these issues that you'll be working through and discussing are real to the industry of printing. This is not a test, but the results really provide you some sort of measurement around how you think in terms of strategy and how you function together as a team. It's really not compressed in time. Most of the time, senior teams have a day to sit together and process and work through the meeting. So it's a day-long intensive senior leadership team meeting, very much like you might have in the real world. The exception is after this team meeting, there is no follow-up. It's also not a trick activity, so there are not intentional tricks built into the simulation. Everything you see should be consistent across emails. So if you get an email and 3 other people are copied, that content and information should be consistent. It's not controlled. You guys decide how you want to work through this process, and you determine what you want the outcome to be. It is also not a game. It's not about winning or losing. It's really how you show up and how you work together and the creativity that you bring to your solution. So it's not a game, and there are no trick activities. So some participant suggestions. We don't want you to show up on your best behavior, but your most effective behavior. So speak up when you need to, hold back when you don't. Really bring your best self to this simulation. Teamwork is critical. You cannot complete this successfully by staying off by yourself. So engage and interact with others. You also, because you only have this one day, you need to move issues forward, make decisions, take actions. There's no next week for you in Skyline. So what happens is only what will happen in the timeline allocated for this strategic workshop. Demonstrate confidence, take some calculated risk, and we want you to think and act at a strategic level. You're being asked to set the strategy for the organization moving forward. So think and act strategically while offsetting and managing some of the day-to-day issues that need more immediate attention. So on Thursday, you'll have some homework. This should be no more than 2 hours work. If you spend more than 2 hours, then you're probably spending too much time on it. Let me walk you through this, then I'll give you some suggestions. You're going to get an annual report for Skyline. Has tons of information. I suggest you read through it, mark it up, circle, highlight, flag with sticky notes, whatever works for you. But read that. You'll get an organizational chart that will tell you the various layers in the organization, as well as some descriptions for the different positions so you understand roles and responsibilities. Then you're going to be given a packet that I mentioned earlier, put together by your administrative support to help you prepare for this meeting. My suggestion is that you first do a quick skim through the emails and then perhaps go back through to categorize and prioritize what you think is the most applicable information for the simulation. You're going to think about who should you want to talk about. What are the key issues? What outcomes do you need to address? What opportunities do you see in the simulation? So you're going to want to go through all of that information carefully. And most importantly, you're going to be prepping individually. We do not want you to discuss the simulation at all until we say go, not tomorrow as the slide says, but on Friday. So we will go back through some of this information on Friday morning to prepare you for the sim, but we want you to prepare individually. All of the memos, the annual report, the org charts, those are for you to write on, put sticky notes, highlight, whatever you need to do to feel prepared for Friday. The one thing you don't want to do is not prepare. This is one of those simulations where you don't have to remember every detail in your packet and you don't have to really understand everything at great length, but you need to have read through it or you will find yourself struggling to keep up. So our org chart for Friday. Normally, when we do this with clients, we would let you select your role, but due to the compressed timeline, we have made those assignments for you. So what you will see on the screen is the assignments for all of the individuals. Again, the vice presidents will not be there, so those at the top won't be attending. And anything that's highlighted in gray represents a role that unfortunately will be unable to attend the meeting. However, rest assured, any critical information they may have will be contained in other packets, so you should still be able to do the work you need to do in the senior leadership team meeting. I'll also say that we could have an extra person add into the workshop on Friday, and if they do, we would assign them one of the roles. The very next role, and if we add someone, I'll send you an email with who's added and what their position is. So that's a quick overview of what to expect in Skyline on Friday. So again, the advice, read through your materials, think about who you want to talk to, what are the key issues you want to try and resolve, what based on the information you have in your packet might Skyline Technology need to do. I'm going to send you also with your packet, just as a helpful tip, a framework for thinking about strategy and to give you just some guidance around how you might think through the process. If you have questions after watching this video or getting into your packets, any questions other than details of the content of the sim, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, we will see you all on Friday morning. Thanks so much.